another fancy graphic for you. Google is adding to its portfolio. The company has a major event in Silicon Valley today. Perhaps you've heard of it, the company and the place. We're expecting to see lots of new hardware. Industry experts say we'll be seeing new smartphone devices and Google's very own virtual reality headset. Scott Stein, a senior editor with our partners at CNET, here to talk more about it. I keep saying like we're going to see it, but the internet being the internet,
yeah,
a lot of us have already seen it.
Yes,
so of the,
we have.
Of the images you've seen thus far, your initial thoughts are what?
Well, Google laid out a lot of these plans back in like May, their developer conference, and then we wondered when we'd see it. And the phone just looks like a phone. You know, so many of these phones look like phones. Oh. So it looks like a high-end phone, and so it probably could be a very good phone. But that's the least interesting part, I think. Although it's what everybody's talking about. But Google is now relaunching the idea of Made by Google. I say relaunching because I feel like they keep approaching the idea of a hardware division over the years, but they've kind of rebooted that now. With former Motorola president Rick Osterloh, and so he's heading a hardware division, and now there are a whole bunch of products. You've got the phone, a VR headset that works with the phone, this Amazon Echo-like device called Google Home, and maybe routers, maybe tablets, a little Chromecast. You know, there's a lot of little products that they make.
You talk about this idea of the reboot.
Yeah.
I am always struck. I feel like perhaps it's not unlike a house that you put on the market that doesn't sell, so you take it back off and then you relist it as a new listing.
Well,
but we can now know, well, actually that house just sat there for a while before you relisted it. Philosophically, in the end, I think a lot of people will just always think of Google as a software company, as an informational portal.
Yes.
What sort of bridge are we talking about, or really what sort of chasm are we talking about that they are looking to bridge?
Well, with the phones, they got to explain why their phone versus any other phone. Yeah. You probably may already have an Android phone, and so you're fine. You already are using Google or using it somewhere else. The bridge is in all the other stuff. And I think that Google has to explain why Google in the home, Google in your life, Google listening to you all the time, and whether that's something you'd want. Yeah. Amazon kind of got in the door, I think, with that because maybe people weren't thinking about Amazon in that way, yeah. Or because the Echo was a fun product, and you say, okay, it's $100 at first, $150.
Which you're sitting here in front of.
Yeah, this is the Dot, and it's $50. Yeah. So it streams music, it listens really well. So, does Google take a cheap approach, affordable approach? Do they go premium, or they mix it? And then you got like VR, which they also are going to make.
Okay, so you mentioned the VR headset, and having done some deep dives now into this technology.
Yes.
It has loomed as the next big thing. I think there are a lot of folks out in the Valley that certainly hope from a financial perspective that this is a new big thing. We've already talked about the philosophy of it, the dangers of it, how people will become addicted to it. Yeah. $79 then for a headset that is compatible with this new phone sounds like a fairly small number, I suppose, especially if it's technology that accompanies this other purchase.
Yes, I mean, if it's $79 and it comes with a little controller that works like a Wii remote, and you can play games with that and watch movies, and it's kind of a stocking stuffery thing, yeah. I feel like that could be fun. Yeah. And certainly that's the right price, because paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for VR that's evolving fast is a iffy proposition unless you're that person. You want to spend that. So I think it's so evolutionary, this tech, that yes, it's an amazing experience for a lot of people, but you only want to spend maybe 10 minutes at a time doing it, and then you kind of want to take it off and not really use it for a while. And Google's got to figure out, how does that work with Android? Is that like, am I spending a lot of time in VR or a little bit? Is it a productivity tool? Is it a way for them to think about where the future is? And Google had a lot of success with mindshare with the idea of cardboard, these little folding, often free headsets that basically gave VR to a lot of people, yep. Watch debates and other things with them. And for free, great, it works with any phone, but Daydream only works with some phones. So you're back in an area where it'll probably be an expensive product when you consider the proposition of getting the phone that will be compatible with it, which might be a Pixel or just a couple of other Android phones.
And maybe updates, so then it's Daydream 2 and 3
yes, and then you have others.
And 12 and yeah.
Yeah, so and then you look at augmented reality and other things, the way it all develops, and this is going to be a very rapidly changing landscape. So it's the first foot in the door, but maybe just low price as an accessory.
Product launches.
Sure.
They always augur well they don't always end well. Galaxy Note 7s, we know now where, if we speak, perhaps millions of people are packing little missiles in their pockets. These scuffed iPhone 7s, the jet black that now doesn't stay jet black for long. I mean, when you look at the products like Home, when you look at products like Daydream and this new phone, are you given pause when you think about how this might go, how this could go?
Oh yes, and I think about Google Glass.
Yeah.
I think about Google's past ambitions. I always think about Google Glass. I'm sure most people do, where they think about Google as a new product. Where is it going to go? And yeah, I think if you price something low enough, and if it's not something that you're putting on your body, look at that speaker. It's like a $50 thing that streams stuff or connects to your TV. That's kind of a low risk, low price thing. So that's I think people are a little more okay with that. But
I suppose
it might get into a junk drawer. It's like, yeah. What do you? And
although I know you look,
yeah.
If you got the 8 and the 9-year-olds running around in the house, and you got a Luddite who's running the show,
yeah,
the damage I could do to that and with that, it knows no bounds.
I know. Well, and once the kids started talking, I turned it off.
Yeah,
I unplugged it, because that's the thing, is you start having always listening microphone in the house, and nobody's figured out a way to filter out everyone talking to it.
Maybe that'll be our next topic.
That might be next.
Scott,
I'm worried that it might be next.
I appreciate the philosophical deep dive here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.